Greetings.
And this brings us to our last little quick segment with me and Nikki, and then that concludes our day. And we both, I think, I know I have to go on to another summit to speak, and I think you do as well, because we're popular.
Yeah.
What can I say? People love us. It's not our fault. So the last little bit that we wanted to discuss, and so because I'm aware that mostly it's entrepreneurs or people looking to become entrepreneurs, which is kind of the whole purpose of this, is we both remember what it was like when we started. This is what I wanted to come out and offer beginners in particular, but anyone obviously can benefit. And I see a lot of senior people watching here, which is great. But it's always such a struggle at the beginning, and you're kind of dazed out and you don't know which direction to go to. You don't know what to do. You don't know what not to do. So this is the perfect place to come on and listen to what other people have done and what we've done that's worked and what we've done that hasn't worked. And, sometimes we do a little of both, and it doesn't mean that because I've done this or you've done this, Nikki's done things that have worked better for her than for me. I've done things that might have worked better for me than for her. Same thing with you. We don't know what's going to work for you. It just depends on where your heart and your passion lies, right? That's usually if you have passion and if you feel good, that's the one that's going to work for you, right? So, and the other thing is too, we want to offer up different income possibilities, right? So I'm a firm believer that your income should come from multiple sources.
Yes.
And so therefore I have multiple sources. I have about 6 or 7 multiple sources. I have properties. I also sell properties. I have books. I am a coach. I do the summits. I do books. Like there's so many things, we do classes, all kinds of different things. So another thing that we do is something called bank code. And you all may have heard of it. And I'm going to let Nikki speak, and then I'm going to put my link in there on my page. And Nikki, you're certainly free to put yours. Oh, there's Marcus. He wants back in. And so, hey, Marcus.
Welcome back, Marcus.
Did you forget something? Did you leave something? Did you leave your wallet here? Oh, I think he just made a mistake. That's okay.
He's probably trying to get into a different meeting and jumped into
Probably
this
is
one.
and clicked the wrong one, right? So here's my code. It's wavers between this and this. It goes,
Well, this is not my code.
this is my code. So these are
This
cards. We have
is
fun
the
with
reverse.
cards. And we also have them digitally. And so that's what I'm going to post on my Facebook page, and Nikki will probably post them on her Facebook page. So
Yep.
We're both with bank code. It really does help us. It helps us to understand ourselves better, right, Nikki? But it also helps us to understand others better. And it's not so I can sell to you better, but so that I know what your needs are better, and then I can give you what you need or what you want. I don't think with either myself and Nikki, we come from a higher place. And not that you're lower, it's not that kind of higher place. It's just our hearts come from a place of wanting the best for everyone. We don't exclude people for anything. And we're always trying our best to understand people the most. And so here's what we think might help you. Here's what we think. So this is great as a business, but it's more for understanding people. I mean, I am now able to patience is not something that comes naturally to me. That's something I had to grow. I had to grow patience, and I'm still growing it because I'm still not where I would like to be, because I want things done fast. I have a lot to do. I'm a little bit ADD. you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I have much, much, much more patience than I did when I was younger. I was a disaster zone. When I was younger, I had like nothing. And even on a really busy day, even now it's challenging for me, but I definitely have more patience and more understanding for other people. And I love understanding other people because it's fascinating to me. Now, you know, the most fascinating thing in the world is people, the way they think, the way they feel, which is one of the reasons I do this in the first place. And so I love that. And so we just wanted to come on and share, you know, this amazing, like I'm going to tell you, I picked up a new real estate client simply because they are a B personality, which is blueprint. And they're very structured. They're completely the opposite of what I am. They're much quieter. They do things differently. They need some schedules, but not too many, you know, and it's really great. And I was able to answer this person's questions in a way that they could understand me better. And we had an hour and a half chat and we sealed the deal. And I sold the condo. It was fast because the energy was so aligned, right? I mean, there's other things that have to work here. It's not just enough, but I mean, we were so aligned and he was ready to sell and he was flexible. And I told him, hey, this is the best way to do this. And he listened to pretty much everything I said in terms of real estate. He goes, sure. He goes, I trust you. We sold it in less than 3 days. It was 2.5 days on the market, sold, and it was closed in 3 weeks later. So it was fantastic. And that's just like one example. I mean, there's so many things. And so I just completed the level 5 coaching program. So I look forward to teaching this, to sharing it with others, because I think it's just amazing. It's so good. I mean, if I could get into every single school in all of North America, I think that would be the best place to start. Unfortunately, sometimes schools aren't the most open to this. So I will let Nikki give you some rendition of how she feels about it, because Nikki will think of details that I won't. So she'll remind me, and then I'll probably have some more to say. So Nikki, go for it.
Well, the thing that amazes me about this is I thought I was quite a good communicator. And when you begin to understand more about yourself as well as more about other people, you can communicate better, because when you're listening, what you're hearing, if you're understanding how they communicate, is very different to when you're just listening. And we tend to be drawn to and attracted to people who are like ourselves because the communication and the conversation is easy. However, there are so many other people out there who aren't like us, who we also get to impact, who we get to work with in relationships and in business. And when we begin to understand a little bit about them, which is what Bank Code does, it gives us an understanding of how you communicate, how you think, and it gives you guidance as to how to better communicate. Then I can speak to somebody who is completely different to me. And that has so much power, because communication and listening are powerful tools. But you can listen and not understand what you're hearing. One of the most powerful things that I experienced with Bank Code is they were talking about different bank code types. Now, I am a this, my husband is a this. Those are two very different things. This is a knowledge, this is a nurturer. And my knowledge almost falls off the page altogether. However, knowing that, I've been able to increase my understanding and my ability to level up in the area of knowledge. But listening to this, the thing we were on, okay, that's a nurturer thing. Listening to the thing we were on, I discovered why I so often think my husband's ignoring me. He's not. He's a knowledge-based person. He's processing, he's thinking it through. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here going, oh, honey, I really want you to talk to me. And he's sitting here going, I'm thinking really hard about this. I'm gathering the intel on this. And it's given me a completely different relationship with my husband. But what about the clients? The people who I think are just being rude because they want everything laid out in a structure and a strategy, and that's not who I am. Well, they're blueprints. And I've learned to accommodate them better. I've learned that it's not good enough for me to turn up as the meeting starts, because in their mind, you plan, you organize, and you are there early, because to them, early is on time. And half an hour early is early. And you can lose business deals, but you can also lose friends by this. So as I've learned more and more about the 4 different bank codes which you see here, and none is better than the other, and more importantly, we all have aspects of all 4 within us. So as I've learned more about these different codes and how to connect with different people, I've become so empowered. And when I ask you to do your bank code, it's not because I'm trying to label you. It's because I want to have better communication with you. I want to serve you better by speaking your same language. Because if I went to Japan and I spoke English, I'm not going to get too many sensical answers. Why not relate to people in the language they speak? And that's what this is all about.
That was short and sweet. What happened? Are we getting tired? Is that what's going on?
Was that short and sweet? I thought that was quite long. Powerful, powerful stuff. It's so powerful, you can only explain your reaction to it. Once you actually look at it, once you've had a bank code done and you see the results, you kind of go, oh, wow. And each of these cards represents a different bank code. And they come with a whole lot of values on the back. Now, not everybody is going to fly over and land in your living room with bank cards like this. But you know what? You can click on Marianne's link and it will take you to Crack My Code. And it will give you the selections. How much time does it take? Well, 90 seconds to 3 minutes. How much does it cost? Nothing. Why would you not want to do it? Why would you not want to do it? Because it can empower you for so much. So we have the action, we have the blueprint, we have the nurturer, and we have the knowledge. And not only are these available for adults, but for children as well, where you can see images instead of the wording. And you can continue to grow, and very often you land in different, as Marianne said earlier, I think, when she is doing a real estate deal, she is more of one of these things than when she's coaching. I would imagine if you're in a relationship coaching scenario, you're not going to find a blueprint and knowledge doing that coaching. It's just not that nurturing, loving, inclusive thing. But I don't want to go and learn IT or AI from a nurturer, because they're going to keep saying, oh, it's okay if you don't get it. So every personality has its strengths. And I am just totally a nurturer and then an action. Actions are the people who love the party, love the excitement, and don't really want to know about the details. They have other people dealing with the details for them. So that's where we get to find how we can serve one another in these different codes. And it's amazing to have an understanding not only of yourself, because it does bring an awareness. I get to learn to stop saying, hey, hey, to somebody who's a blueprint, because you know what? They don't see that as respectful. They really feel diminished when you respond to them like that. But a nurturer doesn't want me to walk up to them and say, good morning, because they think, you know what? Where's the love? Where's the love? And it's amazing, different ways, days, and different topics that Marianne and I are discussing, because we do a lot of different things together. And I think we recognize in those different things the different codes that are coming to light. So Marianne really is a superstar at this. And I just want to again congratulate her on reaching that level 5. That's the highest level you can do, correct, Marianne?
That is the highest level you can do at this stage. It was pretty intense, I'm not going to lie. And it's always, you know, no matter what you do, whatever personal healing, or you don't even have to call it healing, whatever personal development you do on yourself, it's always so much fun because you get slapped with a lot of yourself. And you get to learn and find out more about yourself. And I'd be like, oh my gosh. And I remember one day we were in class, and of course, you know, we're very eclectic in class because there's all 4 of the codes dominant. And so everybody's all 4 codes. It's just a question of how much of which and what. And so I actually physically in the 4 months, which was crazy fast for me, if you have like I run 6 businesses. So for me to do this in 4 months was like, whoa. I was like, oh, what happened? I thought I went into a windstorm tunnel and came out level 5. And it was funny because we all met in Maryland in May, and I completed, when did I complete it, Nikki? See, I don't even know. I want to say October 5th. It was like the first week in October. So really almost like it was September, but so amazing. And I learned so much about other people. And so, you know, we'd all be in class together. And so this one particular day, there was a lady where she was very blueprint dominant. So blueprint is completely opposite of who I am. And so it's super exciting. Now, Kay is a little bit opposite too, because they tend to ask a lot of questions and I don't. I probably don't ask enough questions. Sometimes I just say yes before, you know, I operate a lot on intuition. And I'm usually right though when I do that. So I'm not sorry that's how I did it. I'm not really looking to change that. I'm just trying to create more patience and understand the people that are like that and respect that a little more or a lot more. And so this lady is lovely lady. Like we're sitting there and I was presenting something because of course, as soon as they say the word presenting, I'm like the first one, second one, whatever. There's a couple of us in the class that are A's. Actions, don't be giving me some other word here. Actions and nurturers too. So action, nurturing, whatever. So it was my friend, Dr. Andrea, myself, and Michelle, like we'd all be, you know, so we're presenting, no problem. And you know, some of the other people were not so interested in presenting. That was like their biggest nightmare. And I'm like, are you kidding? drawing up an Excel spreadsheet. If you ask me to drop it, first of all, I'm not doing it. That's the first thing. There's like it's never happening. Don't even bother me with that. I'm 62. I can do whatever I want now. Like I feel like I've earned it. If I need an Excel spreadsheet for some reason, here's my Excel spreadsheet with all my whatever answers you need me to answer, I'm probably going to have someone else create, not probably, I'm going to have someone else create it for me. There's no chance of me doing it. Now, if you give me one that's already made, which has happened in the past, and you want me to fill out a few things, I probably will, but it probably won't be consistent and I'll forget and I'll fall behind and all this other nasty stuff. It's just who I am. And so this other lady was not. She's very blueprint, and I was saying, you know, this, and we tried to do this and that, and you know, this is what we're going to do to help you. You know, I was selling a product to a blueprint. Of course, I'm going to sell a product to a blueprint. You don't need me to sell a product to an action. I'm an action. It's easy for me to talk to another action. Of course, if you're going to put me into a course, that's what you're going to do to me, right? Is put me with my opposite, and I'm talking, and actually the teacher, the instructors, the teachers, the senior people, whatever, they're like, wow, that was really good, you know, because we do have lists of words that we are encouraged to use. And so the instructor says, wow, that was really good. Like you pretty much covered everything, everything was great. But the lady, one of the ladies there that was a blueprint, she said, she goes, well, I kind of don't feel really heard, and I don't feel like that was really for us. And I was like, I wasn't actually offended, which is really, well, not that I would get offended anyways, but I was like, wow, I said, I wonder what I said that would make her feel this way. So it was really kind of intriguing, because the first place I went to was, wow, how could I have said that better, so that she would think that it was all about me. But she was just having a really rough day, which we talked about later. And she was having a rough day. And the instructor even said, she goes, no, she goes, something else is kicking in for you. This was good. Like, she covered everything that was supposed to be. Because I studied this one the most, because I was like, this is my biggest challenge. What do I do with this? And then K's another one that's really tough for me, because I have a lot of friends that are K's. And it's funny because I go to my friend's house, and her husband's a hardcore K. And now so is, I think Christopher's a hardcore K, right? So Christopher and Christopher's already used to me. And so is my other friend's husband. He's used to me too, but we communicate differently. So, and they just recently bought a Tesla, and it was kind of funny because they're like, yeah, he researched everything. And I said, that's good that he researched it. And he researched that out of the electric cars, the Tesla's the best, because it's the original, of course. And I said, yeah, that's nice. I go, I like Tesla. I go, for the longest time, I really wanted a Tesla. And I said, now I've changed my mind. And she goes, yeah, what do you want? And I said, I really want one of those Mustang, the electric one, but I can't have an electric car, just because some of the remote areas I drive to, it's not equipped for electric cars just yet. So another couple of years before I actually consider getting just an electric car, just because of where I travel out for real estate and stuff. I was like, no. I said, this is the one I really like, because when I was a kid, I was 19, my very first car was a Mustang, and I like Mustangs. And this new Mustang, I don't know what the letters are, M something, came out, and I love the way it looks, and I'm sure it's really good. And she goes, so you like the way it looks? And I go, I know, it sounds like you're looking at a guy that's really good looking, and that's the only requirement. I said, no, I'm sure it's a good car. It's Mustang, so I'm sure it's going to be good. It's not going to be shabby, but it's, might not, I don't know if it's exactly the same as Tesla or not. But it was like, so no research, you're not doing any research. And I go, no, I don't research. I just do. I don't research. I do very little research, or I rely on someone else's research, and I'll ask their opinion on that. And I usually ask I have some friends that one of my clients is a mechanic by trade. That's what he took when he, was a kid. And now he works as a contractor. So he knows a lot about cars. And he owns a mess load of them himself, and other people, and my mechanic and people like that. And so, yeah, so it was like, yeah, Mustang's good. I like it. What do you mean? What do you mean I need to research? I'm not researching anything. But it was like, so you're just going to go buy a car because it looks good. You're not going to research what it's good. And I go, I'm sure it's good. Why wouldn't it be good? It's a Mustang. It was so funny having that conversation with her, because she too doesn't really, but she's got him to do all the research for her. So it's all good, but it's awesome. I love that. I love the differences with people, but the fact that it's really helped me to understand people has really helped me in general. And, from a lot of the people that I've worked with and that people have improved their relationships with their kids. Like my friend couldn't, she's actually a hardcore action, and her son is a K, and they didn't have much of a relationship for a very, very long time. And when she sort of went through the course and started doing all this, she's like, okay, now I understand him. Now I understand why he doesn't want to go out, because they're quieter. They're not partiers, And it's kind of funny, because it's funny the way we humans, think. Like, I always find the way we think, the way we look, the human brain fascinates the pants off of me. Like, I just love it. It is one of the most fascinating things in the world. It's just amazing. you know, and now I almost lost what I was going to say, but it was something about, what was I saying? Anyways,
You love,
yeah, the K, you know, and she, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Because my friend is more of a blueprint than I am. We're both real estate agents, and she's much more paperwork girl. She knows all the, and if I don't, like, if I can't remember, oh, hey, I've never done this, I call her. Like, she's almost like my broker. You know, if my broker's not around, I'll call her. Hey, which paper do we need for this? What, you know, she's just like that. So she's a lot quieter, and as she grew up, she was a lot quieter. Me, I was a huge partier. Well, not huge like, oh my gosh, but yeah, huge, you know, the way you're supposed to be at that time of your life. And so now I'm less apt to go to, you know, certain places that I've already went to when I was 20. I'm like, okay, that interests me when I was 20. I got it out of my system. She did not. So it's funny because she'll say to me, she goes, oh, she goes, you don't really like to party very much. And I'm like, my mother heard you. If my friends heard you. And then one of my friends was there. She goes, she was hardcore partier. She would dance on the tables. And I don't mean in some sexual way. I just mean in a fun, we were having fun way. My friend used to dance on the speakers and we just dance all night long. Like, that's what we did. And she goes, you did not dance on the table. And I go, I sure did. And a lot, like not more than once, like for sure. I mean, lots more times. And it was dancing for like many years, you know. So, but I got it out of my system. So I don't want to do what I did when I was 20, when I was 30, when I was 40. I want to, you know, I don't mean that I want to act my age, because I most definitely do not act my age, right, Nikki? But
not even close.
so yeah, and you know, I'm 62 and people are, I'm going to be 63 in a few months. So people are like, well, what are you going to do when you retire? I'm like, retire? What's that? What's retirement? You know, I might do one thing less. Not in 2 years though. That might be like when I'm 70 or something. I don't know. I might do more retreats and less something else. I really don't know. It just depends on how I feel. And, you know, I didn't know last year at this time. I decided I was going to do one of these every month. And I had no idea how this was going to look, if I was going to be tired of it, sick of it. No, I love it even more now. So now I want to continue doing it. But who knew? Like, I don't know, right? We'll see where the road takes me. That kind of thing. I don't dance on tables anymore, just bad knees, and climbing up on a table, not cool anymore. But I probably would if I could now.
But I think that your core personality in different circumstances stays the same.
Yeah.
You are in action.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yes, there are moments when the other things elevate because they I don't like the word need, but it serves you for those things to elevate. But
Right.
one of the things I found so powerful about this was the fact that just because you're different and you
Mhm.
think differently to those around you doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. I
No.
think after me and my vivacious friends had hung out with him for a while, my husband started thinking there was something wrong with him because he didn't want to party all the time. He wasn't noisy. He would rather sit and read his book. And you know what? For a while, I thought something was wrong with him. Like, why don't you want to party? And one thing I've learned through this is that everybody has their own style. And the slogan of Bank Code is make people matter. And it is so important. Think about the kids at school who think differently and are labeled geeks and become outcasts. And when we can start to recognize and value what they bring to the table, what a different environment and atmosphere we have that they can learn in and that we can receive in. My business would not survive without my K husband. You know, it just wouldn't. It's great to be a coach, it's great to be a speaker, but you need to have a balance of all those things. And he's teaching me those things, and I'm learning to understand those things more because it's a different style of thought processing. And I think that acceptance and understanding of other people is what makes the world go round.
It sure does. I love that we're all different. I think if we were all the same, life would be boring. And, right now, the gentleman I'm seeing is also completely different from me. And I like it that way. It's good. It's good that way. I think it's important that people are different and complement each other. But it's also works if you're the same, I suppose. It just works in a different way. I don't think that either one is right or wrong. It just depends on where you're at that moment. I don't think I've had anyone quite this different before in my life, and I'm really enjoying it. And also I'm doing certain things in business different from what I thought, they would be. And I love who I am. I love the way I am, and I'm okay with that, and I'm as I get older, I'm respecting more of who I am, and I'm more excited about who I am. And I think that's probably the case with most of us as we get older, right? Like there's more and more personal development. For me, I had a rocky road in my life. It kind of started off a little rocky with a lot of, abuse at home in my own household. And when I think about, gosh, how I used to feel as a kid and how I feel now is like, wow, what a big difference. I mean, I've done well. And I think sometimes we have to give ourselves some kudos
Yes.
on what we've done. And so I think with that, it is now 3 o'clock. This is where I ideally like to end. I want to thank Nikki for helping me pretty much co-host, and especially in this particular segment, and also with the supplements, and also with just chatting. I mean, we did things a little different today, and I
Yeah.
love this business of not reading bios. That's it. I think I'm done with reading bios. I really like this. It's so much more better. And is that a proper sentence? More better? It is now.
So much better.
I like it more better. I love all my guests. Oh my gosh, I love it. Please stay tuned. Come visit us again on December 13th. It's a Friday the 13th, which is my favorite. I was born on the 13th. It wasn't a Friday, it was a Tuesday when I was born, but I love the 13th. So that is December 13th. It is authentic leaders. We're going to end the year with authentic leaders. What's better than that? And for people interested, I do still have maybe 2 spots, one for sure in my book. The next book coming out in the series of Self-Empowerment Reset is Our Rocky Road to Inner Peace. How amazing is that? So come and join us. Nikki and I are both in the book, of course. And like I said, we have at least one more spot, maybe 2. I could probably squeeze out 2. There's some leeway there with the books. So thank you everyone for joining us. If you have any questions with bank, with APL Go, with the supplements, with anything, the new product coming out, please connect with either myself or Nikki. And the book too, I mean, if you're closer to Nikki, you can ask her and connect her. She'll connect you to me. And that's it. I don't know what else to say to you other than thank you all so much for everything. I mean, we could talk about bank for another hour, but we want to keep it not too much. I think if you talk too much about something, if you're super interested, come, we'll chat with you one-on-one. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you, Nikki. Any final words, Nikki?
Just thank you, Marianne, for yet another amazing summit. And thank you for watching. Whether you're watching on the replay or you're watching live, you made an amazing decision to be here today, and make sure to tell other people to come to the next one. And
Yeah.
have an amazing weekend.
When did you guys already have your Thanksgiving in the States?
Not yet. 28th.
28th. Okay, well, in between all of this will be the American Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to all my Americanos. And have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you.